All right, we are live, and I think my mic sounds okay. I actually just attempted to do this video 30, 40 minutes ago. Watched it back immediately and saw that my voice was clicking and cracking. I had some issues running this software and capturing the audio from that and my mic. I don't know what it was. Hopefully, I'm looking at the levels right now. It looks pretty good, I guess. But before, my voice was going in and out. I did have like a noise gate on, but the noise gate shouldn't have done that because my voice, like the levels of my voice were staying the same, but they were just cutting out at random times. So I think there was some kind of interference with this software that I'm going to talk about and OBS. So I switched over to Streamlabs OBS, which I'm finding myself using a lot more and more for things like this. I don't know why it works better because it's built off of OBS. But anyways, I'm just going to use that because this is not a very complicated stream. I just wanted to have this opened up and be able to talk about it. So this is Acid Music Studio 11. I just got it last week and haven't really had a chance to play around with it until today. I installed all the software and all of the beats and stuff that comes with it. So I have everything that comes with the software that you buy at around $38. It's not a subscription. It's just $38 and it's yours. They do release new versions of it. This is the 11th version of Acid Music Studio. As I mentioned in the stream before, if you happen to catch it and were able to understand anything I was saying, I've been using music software like this since the early 2000s. And the first one I bought was owned by Sonic Foundry, and it was called Acid Pro 1.0 or whatever. It was just called Acid Pro. Sonic Foundry Acid Pro. Eventually, Sonic Foundry Acid Pro or Sonic Foundry was bought by Sony, and it turned into Sony Acid Pro. I don't remember what version that was. I want to say maybe 6. I don't know. I didn't do my research. But I used that software to learn how to basically edit in a DAW. So the way it was kind of pushed at me, like I was always interested in making music. My dad had an old setup in his office in the house that I grew up in. And it had like a tape deck, like a dual recording tape deck. I don't know how to explain any of it, but it was all like old school equipment to basically dub and, create music. So you would record a track of your guitar playing and have a drum machine playing at the same time. Like he had all this equipment that essentially did the same thing as this software, which is compiling and pulling in different sources of music to create music. Back in the day, it was kind of marketed as we have all the sounds built into the software, and I didn't have a clue how to do any of it. So they basically, I think it got like 350 loops or maybe more that came with the software, and it would get drum tracks and synthesizers and all this stuff that were just loops of sounds, and then you would pull those all together. And the way they called it acidizing them, which they still market that, which I think is actually a really cool feature for Acid Pro or Acid Music or any of the acid-based DAWs. And to back up, a DAW is a digital audio workstation. So I said this in the last stream, so I'm trying not to repeat myself, but the fact is that video is not going to exist anymore. A DAW is a digital audio workstation, which is essentially what you're seeing. It is the software that kind of puts everything together and allows you to edit things. And so what I did back then was I would pull all these different sound sources. I would create sound sources. I would sample things and just pull them into my music with these tracks that kind of like you see right here. So this is an example of what I would have done back in the day. So early in my last video, I put this together just kind of on the fly. And this is basically, you see a bass up here, a bass line up here. The classic BAP A is a drum beat. And right here is a little sound effect. It's a simple beat, it's just 3 layers. It's very simple, but I'll play it real quick. It's the music that you heard at the beginning of the stream. But okay, so you get the idea. Just a repetitive little, little beat. And so the idea back then was it was really anybody could make music, and electronic music back in the early 2000s was it existed, but it was kind of in the music community frowned upon still at that time. I know in my circles, when people found out that I made that music, I remember being in college and I'd been doing it 5 years at the time. And my ex, like everybody was just like, that's not real music. That's not real music. And I want to say right after I left California and moved back to Tennessee, it seemed like Usher came out with all these songs that had like techno music under his voice. And it was just like, that's the same stuff I was already creating. It's just, I wasn't in the right place at the right time. Plus I had kind of, by 2006, 2007, I'd kind of gotten beat down a little bit by people to kind of stop doing it. I stopped following it. I kind of had a dream for a while, like I'm going to be a music producer. But it never happened. I let what people think, get to me. And that's a good lesson. You don't do that, because I was doing things that nobody else was doing. Okay. So enough about me. Back to the software. One of the cool features, and I still haven't figured out how to do it. This is not exactly the same software. This is kind of a watered down version of the Pro version, but essentially it does the same thing, which is it pulls in these loops. You can add instruments, which I'll do right now. So you can go into Insert, Soft Synth. And this software for $38, roughly $40, comes with 6 instruments, I believe. So anything with MAGIX, I believe, are the things that come with it. So we got this right here. Let's pull in DNE1. All right, so this looks like I don't know what this is. Let's just hit the keyboard. I've got my keyboard over here and see what happens. Oh, that sounds pretty cool. All right, so it sounds sort of like a guitar. Oh, so this is a synthesizer, okay. So you get the idea. And so with this, you could hit record. Let's pull it over here and just hit record on a new track. And I don't know if it'll record off the bat, because I might have to set it up, but I'm just going to hit record and see what happens. Yeah, it's not going to. I didn't arm anything. So you would go insert new track, right? Insert audio track. No, actually insert MIDI track, because this is a MIDI music, right? And it automatically pulls up Vita. So, which is a different synthesizer. Let's just delete that other synth then. All right. So here I am, 20 years, been using this and completely. Okay, so we want to, that's the only synth. Then we want arm to record. So this is how you would kind of record your playing. I'm not going to keep it. I'm just going to show you just for the purpose. Down here, you'll hit record. And then actually, I'm going to stop, because I'm going to record it with a drum track. So that way it kind of sounds like it goes together. You know what? I'm going to be brave. I'll just record with this song. So pull these envelopes off. All right. So I'll go ahead and loop it. Hit record. And this is an organ sound. All right. I don't know if I'm going to play this in key or not, but I'm just going to show you, kind of get an idea. Yeah. See, I'm not a musician, so, but you can pull this out and kind of see how it recorded everything, right? Let's pull it out here. Stop looping. It'll play back what I just created, which if you pull this in and open up there's a MIDI roll editor, enable inline MIDI editing. Oh, this allows it to be edited inline, which It's kind of a cool feature. Normally I would have multiple monitors going on. This is a lot. There's a lot going on. So you can close that out. And this looks like where the note's at. So that's the velocity right there. These are the, I believe, the velocity points, which is how hard I hit the keys. And you can go and quantize this and fix the timing and all of that stuff within here. You can change the notes even. So you can play something. If you mess up, you can go in and correct it. It's a pretty cool feature, which all DAWs do this. So this is not unique to this software. The only reason I'm using this software is because it was purchased for me because I have somebody that my dad wants to collaborate with me, and this is the software he uses. I still use Reaper and other things that I kind of migrated to after I left the Sony software. But, you know, for the amount of money that this costs, it's actually a pretty good option. So, I'm trying to think of something else I can show. Fortunately, this video is going to be a lot shorter than the last one. So how I made this was essentially, there's thousands of samples that this comes with. It's kind of a misleading number because when you really look at it, there's these 1 through 7 of this Czech guitar fade. 7 versions of essentially the same sound. So I'm going to play and show you. Pretty cool sound, right? So you come down to 5. So just different notes, essentially, which in this software, you can create that and without really messing up the sound too much, but you can come in here. So this is playing, this is the root note, which this is what acidized, I mentioned that word earlier. Acidized is a loop at how many beats per minute with a root note and all of that. So that essentially is what acidized means, meaning you can drop this into an Acid software and it's going to match up with your project settings. So if your project settings are in the root note of F and the beats per minute is this, and you're at a 4/4 time signature, you're going to be able to drop any of the acidized loops into your project and it will match up perfectly. Right notes, right beats per minute, and it will supposedly sound just as good. I think nowadays I'd probably be able to hear the differences and be able to pick out like, oh, that's been stretched or that's been, you know, but the processing is actually pretty good. So the root note of this sample is a C, right? And we're in F. So let's go to C to kind of play this out. And it's actually in the correct beats per minute, 90 beats per minute. Let's play this. Now I'm going to change the root note to F. So it plays it in an F. So from what I've gathered, these are all different root notes, which will give you the best quality. So you've got one is in C, this is an E, that's an F. So if it's done correctly, these samples were played at those root notes. So that gives you that same sound in 7 different notes. But I would consider that one sample. So they're saying there's thousands of samples. It could be a lot less. But it's still, like I said, $38. Some of the sample providers out there charge you $25 or more for sample packs, and you get hundreds. So you get what you pay for. I believe that's a little bit higher. Yeah. So as you can see, you're not really getting thousands of unique samples with this. You're getting probably in the hundreds, which is still good. Like I said, if you're just getting started and you want to learn how to make music, this would be a good start, I think. for somebody. That's what I learned on. It's very similar to the software. I wish I had the original Sonic Foundry Acid 1.0. I'm sure it doesn't work. I think I was using Windows 98 back then to do that stuff with. But yeah, I would recommend getting a MIDI keyboard. I have this Alesis. Let me see if I can pull it up. QX49. It's 49 keys, very light, but it has knobs on it, as you can see, that you can program. I will show you later. My kids actually pulled off some of these sliders. But each one of these buttons and knobs can be programmed in your synthesizers, which is great for live performances or even just live recording, like I showed you earlier. I don't know how much this Alesis cost me. I believe I got it 6 or 7 years ago to replace a broken M-Audio controller that I was using for probably 2 decades. Not 2 decades, but like a decade and a half or something. So anyways, I've shown you the loops. I've shown you how to pull in synthesizers. Those are the basics. Those are the 2 ways you're going to kind of create your music. And obviously, if you wanted to record your voice, you can do that. So we'll insert an audio track. Arm it for recording. Test 1 2, test 1 2. And we will record my voice and we'll listen to it back, which is going to be weird for me. But anyways, as you can see, it's coming in the left channel, and we will record my voice and we'll listen to it back, which is going to be weird for me. But so I've got that, you know, the way my mics are set up, it's coming in as the left channel. In the stream, you should hear it down both channels. I just down mix it to a mono. So now here, testing my knowledge to see if I can remember how to create a mono track out of this. Channels. So you can left only, combine, swap. I would just do left only. And we will record my voice and we'll listen to it back, which is going to be weird for me. But anyways, so there we go. That's how you record your audio. Now over here, you've got tons of different, you can do track effects, which I believe it comes with quite a few effects. I haven't played with it. Let's throw some effects on. Oh, so what is this? Let's take that off. All right, that's preset. That's remove selected plugin. All right, so let's add in plugins. See, all automated. Let's open up all. So a lot of these I downloaded. They're some of my favorite free VSTs. So the M, like any of these things with M, come from a packaged. Let's go in. Actually, let's remove that one. Let's pull in the compressor. I don't know, M. It's been a while since I've used these. Pull in the tuner, M tuner. So it's a package of free synthesizers offered by Melda Productions Audio Technologies. You can go to their website, meldaproduction.com. I haven't activated it yet, but it's free to use. This might be the wrong thing. This wasn't what I was trying to do. So let's remove that and add in another one. Let's go to Old School Verb. Old School Verb is a free PST, which is great. It's just an old school. Let's put in deep reverb preset, and we will record my voice and we'll listen to it back, which is going to be weird for me. But so anyways, you get the idea. There's millions of sources of VSTs, and we will record out there. So explore. I recommend just looking them up. There is, I want to say kvraudio.com. Let's go there. Let me pull this into guest because I don't like, let's see, kvraudio.com. Old school website, been around for years. I used it back in the day to download software synthesizers, VSTs, whatever you want to call it. Go to products, and then, yeah, this is obviously old. Probably want to stick with VST3. I'm on a Windows machine. Unfortunately, I was on a Mac for a long time now. Windows. Let's see. Let's go oldest. These are the oldest. Bass guitar, VB1. So these are all the oldest ones. Is that legit? This is the oldest ones? So I don't remember a lot of these. One I used to use was called Crystal. Let's see if I can find Crystal in here. It's not on this page. Yeah, I remember a lot of these. FM8. I wish it showed the date. Absinthe. So these aren't free though. Okay. Let me go into free. See if I can sort it by free. Best free plugins. See, that's going to be... I want to just look at free. Okay, there we go. Submit search by oldest. So this was where I lived. I lived in these. I experimented with all of these old school VSTs. It's kind of bring me back now. There's some, oh, this one I used to love, and I might actually download it and show you. It's still a lot of fun to play with. I love this one. It's got a really low rating, but to me, I liked it. Man, it's bringing me back so many memories. There was so many different ways I would try to get good sounds back in the day. VST host. It's funny. That's what any DAW basically is a host. I don't see any of the ones I really use regularly. But anyways, you can go in and even go by newest or most popular. Highest used. I would go to most popular and submit search. And these are all going to be the free most popular. So Synth 1 Crystal. This was one I used back in the day. Still around. Let's look at the original release date on this. Original release date. Does it show? I'm probably missing it. Latest version 2.56. See if, yeah, I mean, you can look at some of these reviews. Read all reviews. Maybe we can find an old review. Well, these are, I mean, there's one back from 2007, 2006, 2005. Yeah, this is bringing me back. 2004, 2003. Yeah, so these are, you know, there were people back in the day using this stuff to create their music. And I was one of them. I don't know. Maybe I left a review on this. I had so many screen names and stuff back then, I can't even remember them all. But this was a really cool software synthesizer. And I will, maybe in a future video, pull up some of my old music. My website has some of my music on it. All of the stuff I was able to salvage. So this is my personal website I'm showing you. Let's go into my portfolio. It shows that I'm currently unemployed, which is true. I just lost my job due to COVID, which is why I'm doing all this live streaming. But go to the music part of my portfolio. I've really got to update this. This is some of my most recent stuff, but I have a collection right here that's stuff all the way back from the 2000s. So remember what I said, I was making music with loops. So here's one of the first songs I ever published on the internet. It's from the year 2000. It's bringing me back. I was really into slow starts back in the day. Really into slow starts. Just kind of sound effects and very inspired by Pink Floyd. It's bringing me back. Just went straight into it. I created that drum track, that high filtered drum track by, it's probably a full sounding drum track that I filtered. There's that bass. All right, so yeah, it builds back up and does that again. So that was all loops. Those were not. There was no MIDI involved in that. I didn't start doing MIDI until. You look at these. These were loops. That was a loop. I started getting into MIDI in SoftSense, but I wasn't playing on a keyboard until this, and this was the one called Drugs. It's a song that I made. I think I had tried smoking something maybe, and didn't. This was what came out of it, I guess. I played music and I made random melodies, and this is what came of it. So here we go. Oh wow, I haven't heard that in a long time. I was really into drums. So the breakdown, yeah. So you get the idea. And I don't know if I mentioned in this video, because I made, like I said, my last stream crashed, kind of screwed up. But back in the day, a bunch of musicians used to release stems or their tracks to their original songs for remix contests. And one of the ones I did was De La Soul. I did a bunch with Trent Reznor too. Trent Reznor was very big in the remix community, this budding new musician like community. He was very supportive, always releasing stuff that he created for resampling and reusing. But I don't know if I have any of that stuff uploaded for some reason. But this is a De La Soul track that I created. And this was using a variety of samples and software synthesizers and different instruments. By 2004 time, I had pretty good range of different things I could do. I was aware of kind of being frowned upon for only using samples, because back then people were like, you got to get a keyboard and you got to do this and that. So it was a kind of a slow evolution of what the world is now in terms of making music. But anyways. So I'll play a little bit of this.
Check 1 2, check 1 2. De La Soul is now back on the map. Long Island is now back on the map. Good rap music is now back on the map. Yo, check 1 2. This is the voice of yours truly, the Flavor Flav, and I just want y'all to know we ain't going nowhere. Old school is here to stay, boy.
On the outskirts of what works, live those who goes who broke. Murk to get murked, live by the sword and die by the semi. Not part of my ways, but stays right in my NY mentality for me to be the best. The current, the ones who weren't pressed to confess lies over hot joints to sell to all who want to hear songs.
Youngins these days got fireproof eardrums.
They don't give a who's hot, just long as you're not pussy and be the would-be king. But one's crown, same wanna pull you down.
And what makes the world go round?
And I be the world renowned, wonder why. Wondering why you can't stand me. Is it because I'm the MAGIX son and y'all just Tito's and Randy?
Yes, it is.
Bless the kid who holds his own head and expect the last. At the same time, I want respect and cash and a few paragraphs in the books telling you how us native tongues made hits with no hooks. Wrapped in every prefixes, gave birth to rap remixes back in '88. No disrespect to Diddy, just setting it straight instead of zigzagging. Got a degree in bragging. My daughter says I'm a teen, just like a teen. My pants always sagging and I walk with a bop. It's sax part of my times, my walk from my pop. No longer on Tommy and was never on loud, but cook rhymes to make the chef a woo crap. I'm top cloud, the rain on your show, and still anything goes when it comes to hoes because
Houston, come on, New York, come on, Detroit, come on, Miami, come on, LA, come on, Vegas, come on.
Yeah. Interesting. So yeah, that was that. I think I did 2 versions of remixes, and for some reason I only have this one up. I was really into genre bending and mixing. I think Linkin Park. When I think of the bands that were doing that back in the day, especially Linkin Park, I would say Linkin Park, hands down for sure, were one of the people that, with their Reanimation album that came out, really collaborating with hip hop artists. I mean, people had done it before. Even in that song, they're talking about how Diddy wasn't the first remix person. I mean, everybody knows that. But the people that really, I think, started doing it right, I think Linkin Park, that album Reanimation really took hip hop and the new age of rock and mixed it together in a way that was really, really good. Way better than Aerosmith and gosh, I'm drawing a blank. Hip hop from the 90s, 80s and 90s. Totally drawing a blank. I look like an idiot. I don't care. Anyways, that's just a little bit of the old stuff that I created back in the day. If you want to listen to more of it, you can go to themarshallmalone.com/music. And I've got tons of stuff on here. I've got a comedy rap album that I created, some video remixes that I've created. I would like to show you one more thing music related that I created using loops. This is my website. Hopefully, let's go to edits and remix. Kenneth Copeland. Yeah, it's my website. I've got some pop-ups installed on it to try to make some money. So I made this one. Wind of God viral remix. It's got probably close to 100,000 views on YouTube. It should have got more. But yeah, I created this. I would say this is probably my favorite one. It's got the least amount of views out of all my Kenneth Copeland remixes. I'll pull it up on YouTube. But just to mention, this music was created using loops and some MIDI. So there's a mix of loops and original playing on my keyboard or composing using the MIDI roll editor. Not using Sony, but using similar software that will do the same thing. And also video editing. So I'm going to turn up the music.
I want to take care of some business here before we... Oh, glory to God. I'm so excited about all this. Now, Sonny, yeah. Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, oh, yeah. Uh-huh. Get up. Now, Sonny, yeah. Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, oh, yeah. Uh-huh. Get up. You don't ever judge a brother without finding out what the real facts are about it. I didn't do that. Now, Sonny, yeah. Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, oh, yeah. Uh-huh. Get up. Now, Sonny, yeah. Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, oh, yeah. Uh-huh. Get up. Yeah. That's our God. He wants you to be, well off. He wants you to be rich. He wants you to be well. He wants you to be well supplied and enjoy life. Yeah. Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, oh, yeah. Uh-huh. Get up. Now, Sonny, yeah. Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, oh, yeah. Uh-huh. Yes! Well, it's about time. Plenty of time. I haven't been able to get a word in edgewise. Yes!
My favorite part.
We're going to rip roar around here. I can hear you shout.
COVID-19.
Yeah! I'm here! I am the one! I'm your healer! That's the reason!
All right. So I could play the rest of that, but you get the idea. That was created using a couple different things. So the workflow for that, and I might show that the next time I do a remix, maybe I'll do one live, and try to do it under an hour or 2 hours or something. I don't know. Sometimes those can take a little bit longer to create. But essentially, what I will do a lot of times is I will listen to what they're saying. I'll find something. With that video, for example, I was inspired a lot by WTF Bra. I've been watching a lot of his videos or their videos. I think it's a team of people. And sometimes they'll release something and I'm like, wow, that's ridiculous. So they're already actively seeking this stuff out, and I just kind of do the table scraps. So like, I'll see that they're creating something, and I'll say, okay, let me go find the source of that. They always list the sources of their videos, and I'll download those videos, and I'll pull in and try to find something different. So what I'll try to do is I'll watch, usually these like Kenneth Copeland videos are 2 hours long sometimes. I'll watch the whole 2 hours through. I'll scrub through it and just snip every time I find something that's either funny on its own, you know, and obviously we're taking things that they're saying out of context, and it is kind of, you know, making fun of the situation, but it's just the character himself. He's just so funny, and the vocal quality of those mics that he's using are so good. His voice cuts through the music really well. So the first step would be downloading everything that you need, and then scrubbing through and clipping all of these audio tracks that you find interesting or funny or whatever that you could think of making into music. And then I start compiling phrases together. And while I'm doing that, I'm also creating the music that I think I'm going to end up using. So it's kind of a long-term process. And maybe, like I said, I'll do a live stream one day where I create a remix. But it's going from the video editing software, which I use Sony Premiere, Adobe Premiere Pro 2020. I have the Creative Cloud. I'll edit everything in that, clip it up, and then I create the music. And sometimes I pull the music into the video editing software and start lining things up there. And that's been kind of the quickest workflow for me. And that way I can combine all the video and make sure the video is lining up with the song. And inside the video editing software, once I have a bass track, so it's usually just, I'll start out with a bass track, a drum track, and maybe some kind of melody, right? To give it a basic track to edit to. And once I pull that into my video editing software, and then edit the video with the music. And you have to stretch the video out. That's a whole other thing in itself. But this kind of software, this Acid Music Studio that I'm reviewing and kind of trying out, would work perfect for that. And actually, I think MAGIX makes a video editing software that I haven't tried yet. It may work better with that. I don't know. I just prefer Premiere. Adobe doesn't have any music. They have Adobe Audition, but it's not like a digital audio workstation. You might be able to do that in it. I've actually never tried it. But I use Audition to kind of record vocals or dub audio tracks, or any of that type of stuff. That's what I use Audition for, or to process audio or process vocal audio, particularly for movies or sketches or anything else. So yeah, the workflow would basically be have a track to edit to. If you have a library of things that you've created, you can pull from that, edit to that, and then pull it back into the music software to mix it and add to it, because you may find opportunities once that video track is created and in sync with the music. As long as you don't change the beats per minute or any of that, that's going to sync up the entire way through. And then you could pull the music back in, add more to it, take away things, move it around. As long as the vocals aren't changed too much, you will be able to pull that music back into your edit and have a really mastered product. So I think I'll show that one day. I think that might be an interesting video to show how I do it. I know that there's other people that do it different ways, but my way of doing it would be my way of doing it. Anyways, so yeah, I think I'm going to end the video here. I don't know how long I've been streaming, but you get an idea of what you can do with this software. And I would give it I don't know. I think on the last video, or maybe in this video, I'm forgetting what I've said on each. 5 out of 5 in terms of paid software. I think this is a good starter program, and it's easy to learn. There's so much you can do in it that I'm not showing, but it is limited in certain areas. There are things that you can do in it that you can't do in other software, though. So I will get into that later. Maybe in another video, I'll do a series of showing some of the stuff you can do in this. But anyways, that was fun. Hopefully the audio turned out better in this one than the last one. I'm going to go watch the stream after this. Hopefully I don't have to delete again. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. Hope you enjoyed it. And I'm going to end my stream.